Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another deck profile video. Why, George, I haven't seen you guys since my time in Tanzania. Oh my gosh, I'm goofy. Roll the intro. Yo, what's up, people? How you doing? It's your boy Zay, back at it again with another deck profile. And ladies and gentlemen, today we're gonna be deck profiling one of my favorite decks in the set 4 meta. So we are deck profiling the one and only Wargreymon, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I love this deck. One of my favorite decks to play, like I've said. It's a very kind of like it's an offensive, defensive type of deck, and I absolutely love it. A lot of removal and a lot of recovery built into this deck. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so for starters, we're gonna start off with our level 3s. So the first level 3 that we play is 3, count 'em, 3 Patamon. Now the main reason we play this card is because it has an inheritable effect where on your turn and once per turn, when your opponent's Digimon is deleted by dropping their power by 0, you gain a memory, which is awesome because then not only do you like get rid of a Digimon on your opponent's board, but you can also extend your plays and do even more crazier stuff with this deck. That's the main reason we played this card. So the next card I have in this deck, it's it's somewhat of an expensive card as of now, but here I'll just show you the card. So we play 3 Pulsemon. Now, honestly, if I had a 4th Pulsemon, I would 100% put it in this deck. But because your boy kind of missed out on on entry into the set 4 one of my set 4 pre-releases, I can't get my 4th Pulsemon. But honestly, having 3 in this deck feels pretty fine. So let's talk about this card. So this card on play, which means you hard play for 3 memory. If you have 3 or more security cards, you get to draw a card, which is fantastic because in every card game you love drawing cards. And then if you have 3 or fewer security, then you gain a memory. So if you happen to be at 3 security and you hard play one of these guys, then essentially you play this guy for 2 and you get to draw a card, which is fantastic. I mean, that's the main reason why we play this card. And also further on in this video, we were actually able to cheat that card out for free, which stay tuned, I'll definitely show you. So the next card that we play in this deck is 3 Salamon. So this Salamon specifically, its skill is on deletion. If you have 3 or fewer security cards, you trigger recovery +1. So essentially you get the heal 1, which is very nice. Like if you're in a tough situation where like maybe your opponent just like kind of brutally hit into your security, and then you already have this out on the field, you just swing at their security. If they block or if they let the check through, it dies and you recover 1, so now you get to live longer. A very fantastic card, very fantastic. And so for our next rookie, we play 3 Bushy Agumon. This card is fantastic because it is one of the first Digimon in essentially this Digimon card game's history to have Rush. And for Magic, for those that come from a Magic background, Rush is the same thing as Haste. But for those that don't know, Rush says that this Digimon can attack the turn it comes into play. So if somehow our opponent gave us like 5 memory, we can attack this, or we can, not attack, we can play this guy and then immediately swing with it, which is fantastic. And also, like I was mentioning earlier, we have ways to cheat this card out, and it's pretty nasty. Now, The last two rookies in this deck, it's very these are probably the most expensive rookies in this game. We play two Lucamon. Can we give us a good second to look at the beauty of this card? Oh, one of my favorite secret rares in set four. But besides that, so this card states that while you have 10 or more cards from your trash, when playing this card, you get to reduce its memory cost by 8. So instead of hard playing this for 13, if you have 10 cards in your trash, you get to hard play this for 5, which is great. And then also has an on play skill where you get to just straight up recover a security card, so you get to heal one, which is fantastic because sometimes I know in my matches with this deck I've been kind of in a bind and I'm just like, oh, I'm at 1 security, I don't know if I can live. Oh, I have Loosemon. Plop. Cool, recover 1. Now I can live. Now I can do more plays to me to secure that victory. And then it also has another skill where this Digimon can only Digivolve into other Digimon with Loosemon in this name, which might kind of intel for maybe a future set in which we get more Loosemon cards, which I'm pretty hype about. And so those are all the rookies we play in this deck. Now for level 4s, we play 4 Turiamon. I probably butchered that name, but you know, it's fine. It's fine. So the main reason we play this card is because you only play 1 memory to Digivolve, which is fantastic. So now we can kind of turbo into our Wargreymons or the other level 6s that we'll play. Don't want to spoil it for you guys. That's the main reason we play this card. Now the next level 4 we play is 4 Pedomon. Now this card is great because 1, it's a blocker, and you gotta love blockers, and 2, it costs 1 to Digivolve, and typically, and I'll show the last level 4 that we play in this deck is 3 Unimon. Now typically, a lot of level 4s besides Turiamon cost 2 to Digivolve, but the fact that we have a level 4 that costs 1 to Digivolve and it's a blocker, that's insane. That's nice. A very cheap blocker, and we can just, you know, withhold or not withhold, but we can push our opponents back for a little bit so they won't kind of dominate over us and whatnot. So those are, oh yeah, and also with the Unimon, it's just it's a level 4 blocker. Kind of need to play a decent amount of blockers in this deck, just because we don't want our opponent to kind of trample over us while we're trying to get into our Wargreymons and whatnot. All right, so for level 5s, we play 3 of the Wargreymon. Now, the cool thing about this card is that it has 2 effects. So its main effect is Digiburst 2, which is you get rid of 2 of your own Digivolution cards, and then you choose one of your opponent's Digimon and give us minus 4,000 power, which is pretty insane. Because then we can Digivolve this on top of a different card and do some more other crazy stuff. But like I said, we'll get that to that later. So yeah, and then also this is also good if your opponent has like a rookie on board. You can just basically just pop that immediately. And then if you happen to have the if you happen to have Patamon under it, then yeah, you get the gain of memory and you get to extend your plays and whatnot. And then also its inherited effect is that on your turn, while you have 3 or fewer security, you get this card gets 1,000 power, which is pretty nice. You know, sometimes we need to have extra power just to kind of get over some big things that our opponent has on the board and whatnot. And so now for our next level 5, which is probably the main level 5 in this deck, low-key, is 3 Angelwomon. Now, the cool thing about this card is that, again, it has 2 abilities. So the first one is while Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -2 security. So that kind of basically makes it to where your opponent doesn't hit into your security at all. There's been many times where I digivolved my Terriermon or my Petamon into this Angelomon, gave my opponents like bigger dude -2 security, and then they kind of just like sat back for a turn and just either like plays other stuff to kind of play around that. And yeah, it's a very good stall type of card. But the even better thing about this card is an inheritable effect, which says if you have 3 or fewer security, you can play one level 3 Digimon from your hand without paying its memory. So if we have a level 6 on top of this guy, we can essentially play Loosemon for free. We can play Bushiagumon for free. Or what would be even better is we can play Pulsemon for free, which is insane, ladies and gents. Insane. And so that's the main reason we play this card. Now the last card, or last level 5 we play in this deck is actually another Angelomon. So this Angelomon came out in the starter deck. A little side note, these two are the same cards, just this one is the one that I got for getting actually second place with this deck. Yeah, props for that. But anyway, this card is good because when digivolving, if you have 3 or fewer security, you get to trigger recovery 1. So you get to heal 1, which is also nice. There was a time where my security was like pretty low. I think I was at like 1 or 2. Or yeah, I was at 2 security. So what I did was I pushed my Salamon into the breeding area, or out of the breeding area, and then I swung with it, healed 1, and then I digivolved my level 4 into this Angelomon and healed another one. So essentially I just like healed 2 right there, which definitely set my opponent back, whatnot, and it was very clutch, if I do say so myself. Now, ladies and gents, the main big dude, the main boy in this deck is Wargreymon. We play 3 of these. Now, not gonna lie, in my original formation of this deck, I played 4, but because I figured that, well, there's a lot of times that it was in my hand more than I wanted it to be, so I kind of cut it down a bit. But 3 has been working for me pretty nice. So the main thing about this card is when attacking, you can add the top card of your security to your hand to unsuspend this card, and then you choose one of your opponent's Digimon and give it -6,000 power for the turn. And ladies and gentlemen, that's a lot of power. So the crazy thing about this card is, like, let's say we had, I don't know, let's say we had this going on, and let's say our opponent gave us 3 memory, right? So then, or sorry, let's say we had 6 memory, just for the heck of it. So we digivolve into Wargreymon, right? Use this Digiburst effect to get rid of 2 to -4k. Let's say one of their level 5 Digimon that costs like 7,000, right? Or that has 7,000 power, right? So now it's at 3,000 power. Then for 3 memory, we digivolve to this Wargreymon. We swing, take one of our life to unsuspend, choose that Digimon to get -6,000 power. So now that Digimon is dead, and we not only did we do a security check, but we also killed one of their things, which is fantastic. And we can also swing again if we want to, which is nice. But the cool thing is that if you pair it up with this Angelomon, what you can do is, so like you digivolve on top of this Angelomon, you -2 security on one of your opponent's Digimon to kind of stall them for the next turn. Then you digivolve to Wargreymon, swing, take a life, and And then let's say we were at three security for example. So we swing, take a life. We get to play uh Lucamon for free, heal one. So essentially, we essentially just drew a card, and then we can unsuspend, and then swing again. Now the cool thing is that this Angelomon's effect is not once per turn. It doesn't say that anywhere in the inheritable skill. So if you really wanted to, you could play another Lucamon, or you could play another Pulsemon, or you could play another Bushy Agumon. That's actually insane. That is actually insane, ladies and gents. And so the next card, or the next level 6 that we play in this deck, is kind of like, in my opinion, like a tech card. So we played 2/Angemon. Now, the main reason we play this card is because it has an effect where, when Digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 8,000 power. Now, that is that is a lot of power, ladies and gents. So that essentially kind of kills every level 5 that's currently in the game right now. But if you pair it up with the Wargreymon, if you already Digibursted 2 to minus 4,000, then you Digivolve into the /Angemon to minus another 8,000. That's 12,000 power. That kills almost every level 6 in this game, which is insane. Oh my goodness. So that's the main reason why we play that card in this deck. And there's been plenty of games where that card saved me. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, the other level 6 that we play in this deck is 2 Magnadramon. Now, the cool thing about this card, like I usually say, because it has 2 effects. So on play, so for 11 memory, if you have 3 or fewer security cards, you get to trigger recovery +2. So you get to heal 2, which is actually crazy. So like, let's say we had like zero security, right? So we happen to swing with our Salamon, it dies, then we recover 1, right? So now we have 1. Then if we had a level 4 on board, and then Digivolved into our Angelomon, then we heal another 1, so now we have 2. Then if we have enough memory, we hard play this guy, we recover 2 more. We went from 0 to 4 life in just 1 turn, which is crazy. And then the other reason we play this card is its when attacking effect. So whenever you attack with this card, you can play one yellow level 3 from your hand without paying any memory. So, yeah, that's insane. You want to know why? Remember this Angelomon? Yeah, you might be following me. So, you Digivolve on top of this Magnadramon, right? Then you swing, in Digimon you can pick whichever effect goes off first. So if you choose Angelomon, for example, you can play this Pulsemon, and you can play the Lucamon on the same turn. The exact same turn. The exact same time that this card is attacking. You just put 2 bodies on the field for free, ladies and gents, for free. Oh my gosh. Like, there's been so many times where, like, I kind of, that I didn't, like, okay, I'm not gonna lie, there was times where in games, I should have hard played this, but just to have more bodies on board, I just Digivolved and swung, just play two dudes, which kind of, well, it wasn't ineffective, but it helped me win the game, and it was pretty nice. But besides my nerdy rantings, we actually play a level 7 in this deck, and the level 7 that we play is Chaosmon Valderarm. Ladies and gents, not only this is my favorite level 7, this, in my opinion, is one of the best level 7s in the game, in the meta right now. And why? Well, so it has two effects. So, well, and one main thing, you can digivolve this card on top of a level 5 or a level 6, or sorry, not level 5. You can digivolve this on top of a level 6 green or yellow Digimon, which is nice. So you can play it in a deck that plays green or yellow, and we're definitely playing yellow, so we're definitely playing this card. Um, and then its first effect is when digivolving, activate the following effect twice. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 7,000 power for the turn. So that means you can target one Digimon and do 14,000, or minus their power by 14,000. That is a lot. Or if you want to, you can choose two things and have minus 7,000 power, and you can just get rid of their whole opponent's board. So like we could definitely, Digiburst 2 with this Wargreymon, get rid of our opponent's rookie. Then we can Digivolve to our boy Wargreymon. Or if we really wanted to, we can Digivolve on top of Slash Angelmon. We can minus one of their things by 6 or one of their things by 8. Then we can Digivolve on top of this Chaosmon Valder arm and then get rid of either two things or one big thing for 14,000 power. And ladies and gents, that is crazy. That card has definitely won me a lot of games, and it is just fantastic. Oh, and by the way, also its second effect is on deletion, you gain 3 memory. So like, let's say we swung at our opponent's security and we checked into a Gaia Force, for example, which for those that don't know, Gaia Force is a red option card that says basically you get to delete any Digimon of your choosing. So if they just delete this, then we just gain 3 memory, and we can kind of extend our plays even more to maybe even bring out another Chaosmon Valder arm, which is insane in my opinion. So to kind of help us out with our deck, we play some tamers. Well, we play one tamer. We play 3 of the TK Takaishi. Now, what this TK Takaishi does is at the start of your turn, if you have 2 or less memory, you set it to 3. So that really helps us out if our opponent tries to memory choke us to 1 memory, so we can't do anything with our turn to kind of maximize it and whatnot. And then also it has an on play effect where you get to look at your security stack, then you get to look at then you get to reveal one of the cards in your security, add it to your hand, and if so happens that card is yellow, you get to recover one security. So essentially you get to heal 1. And which is fantastic because all like 90% of our deck is, well, I would say 95% of our deck is yellow, except for stuff like Chaosmon Valder arm. But besides that, we're plussing every time, which is great. And then also we can see like exactly what's on our security, so we know what to kind of expect if our opponent has something that'll kind of like check into our security twice, or who knows, maybe we'll see another TK in our security, so then we can essentially plus again. So that's the main reason we play this tamer. Now, and that's also it for tamers. The next 4 cards in our deck is options, and so we play 3 Blinding Ray. Now, in my original deck profile, I played 4, but it didn't really feel good to play 4. And then my second edition, I only played 2. And whenever I played 2, I didn't see this card at all, and I wanted to see this card, so I bumped it up to 3. And basically for 0 memory, you get to trash the top card of your security stack and then gain 2 memory, which is awesome because if we happen to have TK on the board and then we play this Blinding Ray, instead of starting off with 3 memory, we start off with 5, which is amazing. And so yeah, the only downside about this card is that it doesn't have a security effect. So if you hard play, so in my like my little tip, I guess, or a PSA or whatever you call it, if you hard play this TK and you see blinding ray in your security, please take that card. I don't care if you either take this card or like maybe like a level or maybe like a piece that you need to kind of like build up your chain. But if it's not that, then definitely take this blinding ray. 100%. And now the last card we play in this deck is Eden's Javelin. This card is very good. I played two in this deck. And because our list is very tight, I only had room for one. Like I was mentioning earlier, I actually played two Eden's Javelin and two of the Blinding Ray, but it I don't know, it kind of felt weird to have this card in hand because I you don't necessarily want to give your opponent like a lot of memory because this card is only, in my opinion, is only really good if you already have is if you have is if you have TK on the field and if your opponent also has some sort of memory reset tamer. So then essentially you won't feel bad by just hard playing this card. But this card is good because its main effect is you trigger draw one, so you draw a card, and then one of your opponents gets minus 1,000 power for each card in your hand. So there was times where like so this game is sorry for this card is very good for the late game because like essentially you have like a lot of cards in your hand in the late game. So if we have like 12 cards in our hand, and we played this guy, then we're essentially doing 12,000 power, or minusing 12,000 power to an opponent's Digimon, which is fantastic. And then also it has a security effect where you essentially do the same thing, or you activate this card's main effect, which is the effect that I just mentioned. So essentially you get to draw a card for free in security, and this was actually pretty nice. Um, oh yeah, and I yeah, and let me talk about the babies. Forgot to talk about the babies. So we play essentially three Upamon and two Koromon. Now we play three of the Upamon because when attacking, if you have three or fewer security cards, you get to draw a card. Which as I was mentioning earlier, we kind of benefit from being at three security a lot. Not only can we recover one with certain cards or play cards for free, we also get to draw one, so we can do a lot of things if we're at three or less security. We play two of these Koromon because when attacking, once per turn, if you have three or fewer security, one of your opponent's Digimon gets to or gets to minus 1,000 power one of your opponent's Digimon, which is actually not that bad. So like if we had a Wargreymon on top of this and we just attack, we get to do minus 7,000 to an opponent's Digimon, which is actually pretty good. So now we can actually hit into their level fives and whatnot. And ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much the deck profile. Now there are a couple cards that I did want to mention that would be pretty beneficial for this deck. So bear with me for 1 second. So, ladies and gentlemen, here are some of the cards that I think would be very beneficial in this deck. Also, if you want to make this deck for yourself, these are some of, I would say, kind of like additional cards or secondary cards that you can put into this deck. Now the first one, as I mentioned, there's a couple of like level 3s in the deck that are very expensive, i.e. Lucamon and Pulsemon. So what you could play instead of those is you can play the Tsukaimon. This Tsukaimon is good because it only costs two to a hard play, and it doesn't cost anything to Digivolve. So this is good, kind of like, you know, in the early game if you're trying to memory choke your opponent. And then you can just kind of like build on top of that. But another rookie that I think would also be very good is this Salamon. So the main reason for this guy is because it has an inheritable skill where when attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 1,000 power. So if we happen to have Wargreymon on top of this guy, and every time we swing essentially twice with this card, we get the minus 2,000 power somebody's Digimon. And if you pair it up with the Wargreymon skill, you essentially get the minus 8,000 power an opponent's Digimon, which is actually pretty awesome. So that is another thing. Also, what I should mention, for those that want to, you can 100% play for Wargreymon in this deck. I just don't for my deck because, as I was mentioning earlier, I kind of saw it a little bit too much. And if I cut it down even more, I probably wouldn't see it at all. I think 3 is probably the perfect number for my deck. But then again, it might be different for your deck. And then there's 2 level 4s that I want to kind of bring into mine. So the first one is this Maikumon. So basically, its skill is on play, so you hard play it for 5. If you have 3 or fewer security cards, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4,000 DP for the turn. So that's actually pretty nice if if you pair it up with the with actually Wargreymon. So essentially, what you would do is you would like swing with this guy, take a life, minus 6,000. Then you would hard play this guy and then give it minus 4,000 for the turn. So essentially, you did 10,000. You minus 10,000 power to that opponent's Digimon, which is actually not that bad at all. Not that bad at all. The next and final card that I would probably consider putting in this deck is this Repamon. Now, the main reason you would play this card is because this is a level 4 that has a very cheap play cost of 3. Now, for those that may or may not have missed it, some of our a lot of our level 4s in this deck cost either between 5 to 6 memory to hard play. And there's definitely going to be some times where you kind of have to hard play some stuff from your hand because, of course, in every card game there's always an RNG aspect. So this is a nice kind of little tech to, just hard play, not give your opponent too much memory to work with, and then you can actually build up to a level 5, a level 6, and even a level 7 with it. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the deck profile. Thank you guys for watching all the way through. I know this was a long one, but this deck is a very fun deck. And for those that are contemplating about playing this deck, I highly recommend. So yeah, again, thank you for watching the video. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe, and also leave a comment and tell me what you think about the deck. This has been a deck profile by your boy Zay, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.